What's up, guys? I've been wanting to put this video together for a while now, and that's going over what has quickly become one of my favorite trades, and that's the ratio trade, where I'm long one near the money option and short two out of the money options. And there's a confluence of factors that make this the second golden age of the ratio trade, as I refer to it, and that's Robin Hood and free trading, Wall Street bets, YOLOing, and work from home, as well as weekly options. These have all contributed to the ratio trade being a great trade. With Robin Hood, Wall Street bets, and work from home, there's a lot of people who aren't necessarily well versed in options, especially the dynamics of options, and tend to bid up out of the money options and drive up implied volatility on the further out of the money strikes. And these ratio trades look to take advantage of those terrible bids by selling the bids and then buying near the money options with much lower implied volatility. And I'll typically look for a premium of 50% or so for out of the money option implied volatility. When I say a premium of 50%, I mean that the out of the money option, let's say, is at an implied volatility of 75%, while the near the money option is trading at an implied volatility of 50%. Some type of dynamic like that can lend itself to a pretty solid trade. Or if the stock has juiced implied volatility, like IV's just been on a massive rip, like it has with Palantir. So Palantir today, I tweeted that out. I put on a ratio in that stock using the selling the 44 strike, max strike, December 11th expiration options. I sold two of the 44 strike for about $1.60 and bought one of the 34 strike options for $3.15 at the time. And the stock was trading at about $29 a share when I put this trade on. And I established a trade for a 5-cent credit. So trade makes money so long as the stock is below $54 at expiration. Now, the initial credit that I receive, I'm really not looking to put these trades on for the initial credit. It's kind of like a bonus to pay for the pass-through fees, because it doesn't matter what broker you use, you're definitely paying whatever pass-through fees, regulatory fees that there are for these trades. And that usually works itself out to about 10 cents a contract, in my experience. But as far as I'm concerned, it's well worth paying the 10 cents a contract, because a lot of times these trades can be flipped for some decent money, as long as they're structured correctly. So if the person's looking to put these trades on for the initial credit received and just want a large initial credit, I think that the trade is more of a short call trade than it is a ratio trade, because the initial credit shouldn't be the primary driver of the trade. I think things can get dangerous quickly if it's the initial credit that draws people into the trade. So, the reason why I like this, I got a nice 10-point wide profit zone from 34 to 44, and then on the other end, 10-point wide profit zone from 44 to 54. And currently the straddle for this expiration is at about $9, so a 30% move is currently one standard deviation, anticipated one standard deviation in Palantir, which has just been on a massive rip this past week. It's up something like 65-70% or so, the stock. And implied volatility is on an equally impressive rip, up something like 50 to 60% itself. So this trade looks to somewhat take advantage of that, gives the stock some room to run, and as well, for implied volatility to retrace, or the stock to kind of stall a bit. Although I suppose it could just keep ripping to infinity. Let's see. So today with the stock at 29, I bought the 34 strike with implied volatility indicative implied volatility around 217%. So that would be right around $3.15 for the call. And then the 44 strike was trading at just about 235% implied volatility. That's about a 9% premium between the implied volatilities of the 34 and 44 strike. Ideally, I want more of a premium between the two, but what I'm somewhat expecting with the stock here is that implied volatility will retrace a bit. It had been down around 120% prior to this massive run a few days ago. So if we get a, let's say it drops to 120%, implied vol drops to 120% over the next few days, that 44 strike call is going to go from $1.60 down to about 5 cents, which means that I could buy it back for 10 cents. And then the 34 strike call, is assuming the stock remains flat, will be worth about 75 cents. So I would be able to flip this trade for 65 cents, and after factoring in selling this for 75 cents and then selling or buying back the short calls for 5 cents a piece, gives me a net credit of 65 cents plus the 5 cent credit I took in initially, gives me a total credit of 70 cents. That's without the stock moving and just the implied volatility coming back in. Obviously, if implied vol comes back in and let's say the stock slides back up to near the high it had today, now I could sell the call for $2.18, the 34 straight call, and meanwhile I could buy back the 44 straight calls for 25 cents. So that's I could flip that for $1.70 potentially. That's assuming a few different things happen here. So that's why I kind of like these. You get a massively wide break even, or a seemingly massive wide break even. Can establish them for a small net credit, and there's several different ways to win on the trade. You can win if implied volatility drops. You can win if the stock just kind of stagnates a bit. If it drifts back toward the strike price that you long, you can look to flip it. You can also look to flip it a lot of times if the out of the money implied volatility converges with the near the money implied volatility as well. And what I'll do with my options chain, so this is the SIBO website, obviously, for the December 11th, 2020 expiration in Palantir. And I use the easiest platform for me to spot these is the user interface in Thinkorswim. I don't use it to trade, but I use it to spot trades. And I have a column in the options chain for bid and ask, and then bid size, ask size, because I want to know that there's enough liquidity there for me to put on the size of a trade that I want. I don't want, to find out that there's only one lot behind the bid that I'm trying to sell two of. And then, I hit the bid and I only get filled on one, and the next bid that is either non-existent or not even close to what I want to hit the bid on. And then I'll have implied volatility as well as volume and open interest. But I don't bother with delta, I don't bother with gamma or last or the net change. I just have the bid, the ask, the bid size, ask size, volume, open interest, and implied volatility. A lot of times I'll just scan down the chain and I'll look at the implied volatility column, and if I can find, this is at 250%, this is at 200%. Now I know that this is trading at a 25% premium to this strike here, so that gets me pretty interested in the trade. And then I'll look to see if I can put it on for even money. Here I can't, so then I'll look to see, how far out do I have to go to put this thing on for even money? Do I think that's a wide enough profit loss zone? And I like putting these on out of the money, so that way it gives me a little bit of space should the stock gap up or gap down. Putting them on out of the money gives me that buffer, and then that nice wide break-even zone gives me even more of a buffer. So that's why I like these things, and these trades really wouldn't make much sense if it wasn't for free trading. I got a broker that I use. All I pay is I pay a monthly access fee, which is pretty reasonable, and then I pay the pass-through fees. That's it. I don't pay a ticket fee. I don't pay a per contract fee other than the pass-through fees. So it works out to about 10 cents a contract. And that's perfectly fine by me to put these trades on, because a lot of times I can flip them for some decent money. So I don't mind paying the 10-cent fee per contract. But this is the best way to take advantage, as far as I'm concerned, of people working from home, not knowing what they're doing, trading options, Wall Street bets, YOLOing, bidding up all these out-of-money options, having no clue what they're doing, and there are Robin Hooders out there. Eventually they'll learn and figure it out, but until then, I'll be looking to pivot off them with these ratio trades. And this is just a quick video on it, and I probably could have talked about 2 hours for this stuff, and it's not the most visually stimulating, but I hope that you got something out of it. And I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Take care.